In developing your marking format for an item, one of the most difficult considerations is the level of inference involved in making the assessment. Now, what this means is this, that in cases where there is clearly one answer, one way of doing something, it's pretty easy to make the assessment decision because we know what the correct answer is. We can have a very well-structured checklist of procedures. For example, if we're going to assess something like conducting a fire drill, if there is clearly one set of procedures that must be done in a very precise, agreed, clearly defined way, then we can refer to this assessment as being low inference. And what that means is that pretty much everybody who knows the subject, if they are making the assessment, they will come to the same assessment decision. In other words, that fire drill was conducted correctly or not correctly, and where it's not correct, there will be agreement about what is wrong. However, unfortunately, a lot of the things that we want to assess, such as students' ability to use a range of critical thinking skills, and even more so creativity, and particularly when we get into areas of music and arts, and even things like leadership behaviour, team working, we're into an area where there are different opinions about what constitutes the best performances. So in this situation, what we've got is an eye inference assessment, and that is that we need to try to make assessments that are reliable and valid, if you remember the principles, but at the same time recognizing that there is not exactly one correct way of doing this. In this situation, we have to come up with marking systems that identify the key elements, the key constructs of a performance. And this often requires assessing lecturers, teachers, to get together and be clear about the criteria. Because what is the criteria of creativity? Isn't, for example, creativity by definition something that perhaps has never been seen before? So how would you build this into a marking system? So the idea of the level of inference is this. It's not a question of low inference or high inference, it's a continuum moving from low inference where there is total agreement about what constitutes the performance to high inference at the extreme level where there is perhaps the most disagreement, and that might be in the area of the creative arts. In other words, is rap music good music? I don't think so. But a lot of youngsters think it's much better than Connie Francis and Dean Martin and Perry Como. Difficult one for me, but think about it and follow the next few slides carefully.